the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
We watch movies and eat popcorn. And you're stinky.
Hello, hello.
Hey.
Everybody say hello.
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 Greetings.
Greetings.
Cyclos.
Greetings, Earthlings. Man animals. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys. Three boys talking about movies and how it made us feel. I am Patrick Basquel. I'm a mannequin in the mall who forgot the fucking shit. Oh, God.
I'm John, and I like eating rats. 'Cause I'm a filthy man animal.
And I'm Christian Ames, a mass of stinky, sweaty hair, looking to blow up your home planet. And I can't figure out my accent.
So, we watched 2000's Battlefield Earth.
A masterpiece.
It's an interesting movie. There's so much to unpack just explaining the movie itself before we even talk about it.
Yeah. I'm going to hit you with a quick survey. Okay, Go ahead. No, it's the year 3000.
Yes.
Earth has been taken over by cyclos, and then humans have regressed into prehistoric, sexy versions of themselves. John Travolta is a bad guy, and John Travolta does something to someone's daughter, so he's stuck on Earth. The aliens need or want gold because they're a race of corporation aliens or something, which is not really clear. That's not me not paying attention. It's not super clear.
Yeah, it's hard to pay attention during this whole movie.
So that's kind of the movie is aliens on Earth, humans are kind of a husk of themselves, and it's based off of Battlefield Earth, which is written by L. Ron Hubbell,
LRH
the founder. Yep,
Hubbard.
Hubble. Close enough. Science, sci-fi, space, aliens, but the founder of Scientology.
Yeah.
So this isn't like about the founding of Scientology, but there's a lot of themes in here. I barely know anything about Scientology, but I did some quick little digging in. So it's like themes. I mean, he wrote from what he knew, and he founded this religion. So
yeah, that's its whole other thing. If you go into Scientology, but I mean, I don't really.
But that's what people know about it.
Yeah,
that's like the if you've heard about it, you've heard that it's a Scientology movie, considered one of the worst movies of all time. That's we're watching a bad movie here. We're going to break it down and have fun with it.
Yeah.
And then
also, I got to say, his name is L. Ron Hubbard. I thought it was Elrond, like from Lord of the Rings. So every time in my notes, I wrote him as Elrond. But I think that sounds way cooler. That makes him sound way more qualified to be writing science fiction novels. But yeah, it's let's start with the good things.
Okay.
Because it's going to be a short list.
Yeah.
And you know what I want to say? The production quality is surprisingly good for what it is. Like, there's some moments of decent cinematography. So, I don't know, it kind of made me think, shit, maybe I should get into Scientology. Like, I could help them maybe come up with a good story or, you know.
I will agree. It's like they are really, like, on its face, it is really close to, like, hey, this is a sci-fi movie. Why is this so bad? And like, if you just like saw a scene, you'd be like, okay, that's something part of a larger story, and it looks kind of cool. Maybe,
yeah, like costumes, some ships, like some of the CG. There were moments where the CGI was okay, like for the time for 2000.
I think I can't tell what's being facetious or not, but I think genuinely the post-apocalyptic settings of Denver and like just cities those were really cool sets.
Yeah.
So
yes.
props
No.
to that.
John. To be clear, I wasn't being facetious. There were actually a couple cool cityscapes that were like, oh, that's especially for 2000. It's really not terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there were some good moments.
I think I'm just me remembering. I don't think Barry Pepper's performance was bad or terrible.
He's given it.
Something.
I think he's given it. He's like, they're like, hey, be a man animal. People have regressed. Things are very, and he's like, all right, I'm going with it. Like you can, I wrote that down in my notes one time in like the scene where they're like hosing him off. He's like, I'm a man animal. He's like moving around, and it's like Barry Pepper gets it. He is doing it right now.
And you know what? Because he won a Razzie for that performance. I couldn't help but think it was kind of out of respect, because I totally agree with you, Patrick. He did what he could with the shit he was given.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if someone deserved a Razzie, it was Travolta.
Oof.
Or like Forrest Whitaker.
Oh, poor Forrest Whitaker.
So
Well,
those are
dude,
probably the
also,
three big
Barry
characters or actors.
Barry
is
Pepper
Forrest
said he
Whitaker.
was very upset that he wasn't there to accept the Razzie. He said, if I had known that I was going to win it, I totally would have been there, which is just like, shows how good of a sport he is.
Yeah.
I mean, also, it's like, it's a paycheck for him at the end of the day. And there's something I was thinking about, is like how exciting it would be. You're the lead in the science fiction movie, and then it like slowly falls apart, you know?
Yeah, I mean, think of his perspective, like the whole Scientology thing, it might have been like, I don't know. But he was the lead of a big budget sci-fi that could have been a blockbuster or a huge thing, you know?
Yeah.
So for him at that time, he was probably like, sure, like this could be cool. And he, like, obviously he gets paid. It didn't work out. But that's so much of a, like, he's on set and it's being shot and he doesn't know what it's going to look like. And there's so many things they shoot and that isn't used or the way it's used, you know, you don't know.
Yeah.
Especially with a big production, let alone anything small, which this isn't. But like I don't know, you just don't know. You're shooting scenes, you're doing a job, and then you go home, you know?
Yeah. And I have like a little anecdote because I watched an interview with the screenwriter of this and about this. And I don't want to dive into it too much because it was like a 20-minute interview. But basically, he was like kind of in a similar position where he wrote a bunch of scripts that like almost got produced and then didn't. And then they were like, hey, we want you to write this. And he was like, all right, fine, I'll write it. Because he was excited about it. They sold him on it. John Travolta and his producing people were like, hey, it's not about Scientology. It's just about the book. It's about the book. We're going to make Star Wars again, but with this thing. And so he wrote it. And then like the deal with the major studio, I think it was 20th Century Fox or something like that, fell through when he turned in a script. And then essentially it disappeared. And because like his name is on it, only because there was like a contract and there was no like record because it disappeared off of the studio grid. So it's like when it came out, he was like, oh, wow, that's fucking terrible. And so he's like, it was so interesting to see him watch it.
He said the screenwriter, I did a little research too. He said he saw the movie once. And he saw it at the premiere, and that was it. He's never watched it again. So
yeah,
we've watched the movie as many times as the screenwriter has, for whatever that's worth.
We all want to see it the same amount of times too.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a fun movie to watch if you like watching bad movies.
Yeah,
but it does become a slog. But like right off the bat, like 5 minutes in, you're in for a trip. Like almost every shot is a canted angle. And if you don't know what that is, it's like a. You know, if you have a shot, like the picture of the tripod is on flat ground, you know, it's a normal thing. The horizon's a straight line across. It's level. With a canted angle, the camera's tilted at an angle, so everything's off. It's like it's properly used in like discomforting moments in a horror film or whatever.
Or when like Terry.
Or if you're a bad guy in a Batman TV show.
Yeah.
Camera's always going to be canted on you. Dude, I thought it would be funny if like behind the scenes like trivia was that their tripod, they had one tripod and it broke on the first day, so that's why they had to have every single shot on a tripod that was canted.
I mean, that kind of fits with my theory on this movie, is that it was just like stuff that was laying around. Like they had the old Blade Runner mini sets, like someone bought those at an auction and used those for like the things. They're like, well, we have them, we have to use them. And then like if they just had the tripod and it was just like a half a leg, it's like, well, this is the tripod that we have, so we have to use it, because it was just like cobbled together. Man.
I'm watching. I have clips on the background, silent whenever we're talking about movies, and just there's this one scene and every single shot's canted, and I don't know what it gets. For me, if I'm watching something and everything's canted, I'm thinking comic book. Yeah, maybe that's what you're trying to evoke, like the first Thor. Not a great movie, but it has a lot of canted angles, but it's a comic book movie, so it kind of works.
But it's even the wide establishing shots are in canted angles. I'm watching the same. It's like this. Even the wide establishing shots are at a canted angle, and like, you know, little film nerdy thing. It's like when you do a canted angle, it's supposed to signify a shift in the world or something. And it's like, I guess the world is always shifted, is what they're trying to say. You know,
who knows?
But anyway, I want to talk about the cool thing, because I think before, because there's so much to dunk on in this movie.
Good things, guys.
Get the good.
Good things.
Get the good out.
Good.
I think my only good thing was the sets were cool, and it was entertaining because it was bad. Yeah, that's probably my good.
Okay.
And Barry Pepper was not terrible, and he owned it.
That's our hot
So.
take. Barry Pepper is not as bad as you think he is.
No.
Um,
My
He's
last,
great in,
my,
Saving
my
Private
last,
Ryan.
my last good thing that I had was that the budget was $73 million. That's cool.
Apparently, though,
It was
the company that funded the movie
Franchise.
overreported $30 million, so they pocketed $30 million, I guess.
yeah.
And
Oh.
and only $40 million actually went to the film.
Yep.
I'm guessing
Still.
what that means.
Yeah, they pocketed
That's
like
impressive.
$31 million or something like that.
Yeah. It's wild.
Because it's not. Yeah, this is all. But the good thing that I like about it is I like the way that the people would interpret. Like I just like this in most things, but I like how people from the future interpret things from the past if there's no context. Like the mannequins being frozen people. I was like, that's cool. And
Yeah, and how McDonald's was some kind of godly place where food will just appear to people. The
Yeah.
golden arches.
yeah, like I like that stuff. And
Yeah, at that point, I was like, because like the first 5 minutes are bad, but when he goes into the old ruins of society, I'm like, oh shit, this is cool. This is like a cool apocalypse movie
Yeah.
now.
And that kind of goes into my
Yeah,
pitch to make it better, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah. There were moments where I was reminded of what's not Zero Dark 30. What's that PlayStation game that came out last year with the
Horizon Zero Dawn,
Horizon Zero Dawn,
which also is based in Denver, by the way.
So when there were moments of that, like it's in the future, but humanity has reverted to primal ways. Like there were moments where I was like, it is a cool setting, I guess.
Yeah, I have a whole tangent on humans going primal in Apocalypse later, after we're done talking about the good.
Good. It
but-
sounds like we've got a lot of really good tangents.
Yeah.
I think we got.
I think-
Is there anything else good that you guys liked about the movie?
I think okay, this is a weird plus, but the aliens are much bigger than the humans, and they did a good job shooting that
Mhm.
and making that look believable with whatever camera tricks or special effects they did use.
There was
That was good.
I
The alien design was terrible, but in terms of the look, they looked huge and menacing compared standing side by side to a human.
Yeah,
Um,
especially in the dialogue, like the conversational shots. But like, as soon as you see John Travolta's feet, as soon as you see
Yeah.
those boots,
They have like
But I know
giant
what you mean.
triangle feet. They look like a Japanese kind of robot thing. You know how like they always have these big feet that like
Yeah.
kinda-
platform shoes,
yeah.
Yeah.
They like spread out, the feet like spread out and have like a really wide base. I know exactly what
like
you're talking
bell
about.
bottoms. Also, did you notice the hog that Travolta was packing? They stuffed like a cucumber in his pants. He had a fucking.
Really? I didn't even know.
I don't know if I
Walrus
noticed
in
that,
there.
but
Oh, dude, that's where my eyes go straight to every character revealing shot. Yeah, he was packing. He was packing.
I just
Well,
imagine Christian watching.
You have to give us a package report every movie.
That's
Every podcast.
Let
what's
us know
package
how
report.
the leads packages.
hey, what's he packing? Wait, let's go to our segment within a podcast. What's he packing? With Christian Ains.
And it plays the Toy Story music. The doo 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 doo. It's the transition.
I liked fuck. I'm trying to think. I feel like there's I like, and I also hated the color temperature changes. Again, kind of like film nerdy stuff, but I like that sometimes when they like, I don't know, sometimes I hated it. That doesn't make sense. That's not a good thing. That's a stupid thing.
It's very stark. I mean, the movie starts off in like a deserty setting, and
Yeah.
it's like super red and super hot, and then pretty much like 90% of the movie after that is all blue.
Yeah.
Just all different shades of blue.
And
But I
then
guess
green
it's
randomly.
Dark and yeah, I don't know if it's trying to like evoke like a Dune feel with at least the red portion of it, but
When I was a kid, I could confuse these two movies together. Like I thought the sci-fi channel show Dune, like the miniseries, I thought that this
Yeah.
movie was like them ending it or something. Because I was like, oh, those look similar or weird.
so you had seen like clips of this before?
Yeah, I'd seen like I mean, I was in 2000, I was excited about it because it was like, oh, sci-fi. John Travolta's.
Oh, so you knew about this for a while.
I knew about it. Yeah, I knew about this. Like, I thought that maybe I wanted to see it, but then it never happened.
Oh man,
because my parents.
dude,
were
if
like,
I had seen trailers for this when I was back in 2000, I would have wanted to see it too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, cool sci-fi movie.
Yeah, and it's like I think, yeah, I remember seeing trailers for this and being like, oh wow, cool, yeah, because I think that I was watching the movie, I was like, every scene kind of looks like it could be in a trailer. Like every line has like this gravitas, like, and especially because everything's shot in a candid angle, makes you think that something important is happening, even though there's fucking nothing important happening.
That's how they keep you hooked the whole time.
And it's like, oh, what's happening now?
Except your neck hurts by the end of the movie.
Yeah. God, drinking game. You have to tilt your head to make the horizon level every time.
Try
I
and
don't know if that's a drinking
try
game.
and
but
try
it would
and
definitely
catch a
hurt.
drink out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, you guys want to start unpacking this movie?
Let's unpack it. Let's talk about what's weird. Let's talk about this weird fucking passion project.
I mean,
Dude.
I can go on a tangent. Who wants to
Hit it, John.
First?
Hit the tangent.
Hit it hard,
Alright,
baby.
So I'm gonna talk about this movie and two other things. So there's this, there's Cloud Atlas, and then there's a
Ooh.
TV show called The 100. And all three movies have this thing where humans pass their prime and the kind of de-evolution or primitive nature that they've gone. And I think Cloud Atlas is a good example. Language has changed, like things have changed, and humans are still human, but I don't know, it just does it well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the 100, where humanity is off the earth for 100 years, and then they come back, and then humanity has it's only 100 years, and they all have they have their own language and like all this stupid stuff as if it's been thousands of years. It's such a fast progression. It's stupid. That's stupid. But at least it showed kind of some kind of de-evolution. And this, they're just primitive and they don't know things. Like they're 1,000 years removed, but they still have the same speech patterns. They have colloquialisms. The names are the same.
Johnny Goodboy.
Johnny Goodboy.
Yeah, like, these are supposed to be like primitive man, not devolved, but like 1,000 years after the apocalypse, and they're just like, it's weird. I don't know. Like
going off
Cloud
that,
Atlas speech pattern would have made more sense in this, where they say the true, or they just like have a really simple language.
Yeah,
but
that's a good point. Going off that, maybe I missed it because I wasn't paying attention, but I didn't think they ever fully established that the Cyclos and the humans don't speak the same language.
They did.
So
that was so fucking confusing the first time.
I was like, wait, they can't understand each other.
They don't it's not established. It's only established like way after there's a ton of interaction, and Johnny Goodboy learns their language through this bot machine.
But that's like halfway through the movie, and I had questions about that, where it's like John Travolta is speaking as an alien man, and it's just very confusing.
Dude, the moment John Travolta walks in and opens his mouth is the best part of the whole movie. Because honestly, John Travolta has a pretty macho face. He's got a big face, a big head, a huge chin. But then he's got the voice of Danny Zuko. He's like, hey guys, hey aliens, let's take over Earth. Here we go, staying alive. Oh God! I laughed so hard when he spoke, and then throughout the whole movie, he's going in and out of this accent. It's like kind of British, but then sometimes he just sounds like John Travolta talking.
He can't decide.
There were moments where I was kind of speaking under my breath, like with his lines. Like I would go back and rewatch moments, but imagine like a deep, intimidating voice, like "Oh, we must kill Rat Brain," and I was like,
even with a cheesy filter, it would have been better.
It would have been way better. Like the moment that you see him speaking Cyclo and his voice is all deep and distorted, it's like
do that.
What if they did that the whole time and we never understood the Cyclos? That would have been kind of cool. Like also you wouldn't have John Travolta's like boyish voice just in there. Like, oh God, but it makes the movie so much more enjoyable with just having John Travolta's voice. It's utterly hilarious.
It makes it very confusing. Like, it's
another thing they don't establish well is the breathing.
Yep.
And what the rules of that are.
Yeah.
And why it's different. So these in the movie they have these little like things that pinch your nose and it makes you able to breathe in different environments. And so the humans can breathe fine out in the world, but then they get taken to this dome and then they need them. But then when the Cyclos are wearing them, it's very inconsistent. I thought it was simple as it's just inverted. One can't breathe where the other one can.
It didn't seem like
But
it
I'm
followed
pretty
the
sure
rules.
it doesn't commit to that. So you have this important thing where they only some can where people can breathe, where either race can breathe or species can breathe, and it's so inconsistent. It's so wild. It's just.
And it's
consistent. It doesn't establish its world well or the rules
they
at
don't.
all.
Yes.
They don't establish the atmospheres because sometimes the Cyclos, I think they'll like walk off their ship and then put their nose ring on or off. Like there's no like atmosphere block. It's just like, oh, I feel like putting my cock ring on my face today. Like, yeah, not established.
So, I mean, it's not a good movie, so it's not going to build its world well.
But for like something
and it could
that is so integral to the story, like the end bit where it's like the atmospheres are completely different. So for that not to like it's really indicative of the kind of movie that it is, that it doesn't pay attention to that. Where it's like it just kind of it feels like it was like that first scene where you see the man animals get their nose cock rings and it's like, this isn't explained. I mean, and you don't see the person who's handing them out. I had to go back and rewatch that because I was like, where the fuck did these things come from? Did they drop down like in an airplane?
All I remember is it was being shoved in Barry Pepper's face, and the subtitle said, "It'll help you breathe." I don't know if a human said it or a cyclo. Also, because they don't establish language, you don't know. Like, it's just like, oh man.
That was, I mean,
but it looks cool, dude.
In the first,
doesn't.
I mean, there's only so much you can do, I guess, to have something to, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the thing about,
I guess, masks, but then you cover the faces.
Yeah, but that's the thing too about like sci-fi movies, where it's like sometimes it's better if you don't like in Star Wars, where it's just like we just go into this universe where we know the rules, like the characters in the universe know the rules. But if we go into a universe and like the people in the universe don't understand the rules and they're like kind of making them up and always changing them, like the thing with them teaching the man animals how to mine, like they were
that was so integral. That was the whole thing that kicked it off. Which is such a weak story thing, and like the relationship they tried to build with Travolta and Johnny Goodboy. It was so confusing.
Oh, like when he like lets them kind of have a little bit of freedom to go mine gold for him.
He gives them a lot of freedom.
I'll be watching you.
It's like, but you can't wait. What? How are you gonna watch? Because you can't fly close enough because of the radiation. Anyway, like the whole thing, like they say, hey, you can't teach man animals how to mine. That's against the code. And then we see a scene later where he's running through, and it looks like the man animals are clearly mining. Like, it's like, so are they not allowed to mine, or are they only allowed to mine?
What are they enslaved for if they're not there to do the bidding of your main product, which is gold?
There was a thing with zoos.
Excellent point. Also, did I miss why the fuck do they want gold? Is it like a resource to power their ships or something? That's what I assumed.
I think it's just as simple as greed and wealth, which it's not strong or at all.
Well, because the aliens were like some sort of corporation. Like they're trying to do some sort of thing where it's like, oh, corporations are bad and corporations are greed changes the world and stuff. But they just they were like, here's lingo. Because the whole thing about leverage, they talk about leverage a whole lot. Again, it doesn't really decide what it wants to be. It doesn't make any choices.
Yeah, it's like leverage is a central theme of this.
Yeah, but they don't.
Which is like, I don't know, if you have a central theme, there's a point, there's a lesson, there's a message. But no, it's just, there's a constant, it's just leverage. I'm doing this, so I have this over you. I have this. And it's like the most basic form of leverage, which is like, I have dirt on you on video.
And that's just it's like, I have leverage now. And then I had a problem, like right away, like there's a scene with John Travolta at the bar, and he's like, oh, my bartender buddy, you're, we've always done good together. And then the bartender's like, yeah, you're going to keep my secret, right? And John Travolta's like, I did, but I'm not anymore because I'm leaving now. I'm going to turn you in because I'm leaving. And it's like, from a bad...
I don't give a fuck about you is essentially...
Yeah, doesn't he say like, you're not my friend?
Yeah, that'd be different if we were friends.
Yeah, he's like, I take care of my friends, you're right. but you're not my friend. Was the delivery of that?
It's just it's like establishing John Travolta as a bad guy.
Well, also that isn't so going off the whole leverage theme, like, oh, I've got this bad dirt on you. That's like what Scientology is about. So in that way,
it kind of is.
It's perfect because that's literally how they get like Tom Cruise in there, because they've got pictures of Tom Cruise like covered in.
Well, and I'm gonna
I don't have to finish it. They've got that stuff. They've got worse stuff on John Travolta. They've got it on everybody.
Well, and that's how they wield their power. I mean, and that's an interesting point to make that I did not think about. But just going off on a little tiny Scientology tangent, they have these auditing sessions where they're basically like, "Hey, here, tell us your deepest, darkest secrets to get them out into the world." And then they're like, "Hey, guess what? Remember that time that you had that dream about fucking your sister? We've got that on tape, and we're going to tell the whole world if you don't try and get John Travolta with us." So they use like...
Didn't Katie Holmes get out?
She did get out.
Is there anything around that? Or like why it happened?
Well,
I bet she's afraid to... I would assume she's probably afraid to go too into it because she also has kids that she...
Well, she never... From what I know, and again, I'm not Katie Holmes' babysitter, and I don't know her very well, or the whole thing, but from what I know, Tom Cruise was like, "I love Katie Holmes," to like David Miscavige, who's the guy. And he's like, "All right, Tom wants what Tom wants, and Tom's going to get it." So he's basically like manufactured this relationship. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, it's Tom Cruise. I love Tom Cruise so much." And then so they were married, and they kind of like kept her out of the Scientology-ness of it for like a little bit. But he like slowly tried to like get her in and like reel her in a little bit, and she was like placated to him. I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll do this auditing session," because like in the beginning levels, apparently it's just like kind of like therapy, and then as you get further and further and deeper into it, it's like more manipulative, and they wait until a little while to be like, "Hey, guess what? Aliens are living in your body and in your mind and controlling your negative thoughts."
Well, that's probably the biggest thing that's pulled into the movie from Scientology in terms of themes, or Hubbard's Scientologist ideology is the cyclos have, I mean, the name cyclo is they have like something in their brain that makes them psychotic and impulsive and controls them, and I guess that's something with the messaging in Scientology. So I guess that's the one of the bigger tie-ins there, but the leverage one is so blatant.
Yeah,
and I don't know what it's trying to say, though.
You guys have probably seen the South Park episode on Scientology.
Oh, yes.
It's like, if you're curious what the doctrine of Scientology is, just watch that episode, because it spells it out perfectly in a hilarious way, but it is literally what they believe, and it's so funny. It's absurd.
It's fucking wild.
Oh. Also, yeah, like... You remember in that episode, the aliens, like the Xenu aliens from Scientology, they drive like passenger jet planes, even though they're like an ancient dominant alien race. They drive like passenger jet planes. So when I saw those pseudo, like the alien ships show up in this movie, they look... I was like, that's great. That's great. That's true to L. Ron Hubbard right there.
Speaking of planes, I meant to circle back when I mentioned the tangent about primitive man. So the main character, he's primitive man animal, but he gets like educated through this machine. So it makes sense that he's instantly smart and he's capable of things. But somehow he gets all the other humans just to like, he equips them with like, they go to like DC or something, and he finds like simulator
they went
pods
to Fort Hood.
for the Air Force. What was that?
Fort Hood.
Okay, yeah, they go to Fort Hood, and there's like simulator pods for Harrier jets. And this guy's like, "Yeah, I can learn how to ride a horse. I can do this." And then so he just leaves them there. And then at the 11th hour of the battle, all these primitive men with like tribal paint and like crazy hair and wearing rags come flying in on Harrier jets to save the day, and they're shooting down these alien ships. The whole thing is they're supposed to be high stakes, but you're not. And like the main pilot dude, who I don't care, you don't care about because he's barely introduced. He's like in this epic cat and mouse fight with this one ship, and then at the end he decides to sacrifice himself and crash into the ship, and it's like, who was that enemy? What was the stakes here? Why?
Oh
what?
yeah, they didn't even show
And then
him.
he
He just kind of
ejects.
flew into it.
No, and then he ejects
Also-
and gets out, and it's like he's like, fucking, ugh.
Wait, he ejected?
Yeah, he ejects. They had to do
Oh,
a
he
big
did?
thing of having him eject. Yeah.
Oh fuck, that's right, because he showed up at the end. Also, yeah,
'Cause-
because that actor played the bad guy in Kindergarten Cop, and that,
Cool.
and yeah, that was my one note about that guy.
There's-
Also, his scream of anguish when he tries to sacrifice him. There was not a single good scream of anguish in this movie. All
Yeah,
the
the screaming
screams
in this movie was not good.
Yeah.
so bad.
Bad screaming. Only one good hog.
One good hog.
They
Some great platform boots.
there was a bit in the final thing, because it's just, again, talking about inconsistency in terms of story, in terms of keeping up with things with the nose cock rings and whatnot. But there was one where they focused on him leaving his walkie-talkie on the ground as he saves his friend from getting shot or something, and then you remember that long shot where he's running and they're shooting at him, and there's just all these particles in the air, and it's really cool for cool's sake, but he doesn't get
When
anywhere.
he's running, you mean?
Yeah, when he's
Is that what you're talking?
yeah, at the end.
Yeah.
And then he gets his walkie-talkie back, and we did like a long shot of just seeing the walkie-talkie like not be anywhere. So it's like, oh, and then he gets it back. Like it's, and
You know what that reminded me of? That running. It reminded me of the scene in Wanted. Only the Wanted scene was a million times better.
yeah,
But it reminded me of that. It was like the scene, like that scene in Wanted where James McAvoy is running through the hallway, kicking ass, killing dudes, cool stunts, cool tricks.
yeah.
This movie has that, but it's just him running. That's it. It's just like
He's not fighting
It's so
back.
bad.
He's just running away.
I have
and it's
no
just-
recollection of this scene. I must have
It's okay.
completely spaced. I don't remember.
I mean, that happens. I mean, I have the trailers, and I'm like, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
And I promise you, I watched it, but paying attention can get hard.
Speaking of getting hard, I love how many times they say blow the dome. We're gonna blow the dome. Blow the dome. I'm gonna say that to my wife next time we're getting intimate.
Hey.
Honey, we gotta blow the dome. We gotta blow the dome. There's also the best, going off that again, the best reverse psychologying in history when they're talking about who has to sacrifice themselves to blow up the Cycloplanet. And, and Barry Pepper is just like, no, I must do it. I'm the one who has to do it. And his friend is like, no, you know their language. You know their history. Please, let me do it. And Barry Pepper just kind of stares at him, and you can tell what's going through his head. He's like, fuck yeah, that's exactly what I wanted you to say, bitch.
Well, maybe
Because here's the thing.
Devil's advocate, he's the hero. He does have that good core of sacrifice and self-sacrifice or whatever. But he's also so intelligent because of the education machine they put through him that he's like, yes, that is logical. I took it as that.
Yeah. I actually,
I just took it as the best opposite psychologying.
But I do like that because it also could just be his super smart
that would be
analytical.
That's
Imagine if nobody volunteered. He's just like, I'm gonna do it, guys. Really, don't try to stop me. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna die
please.
for all of you because I'm so good.
No one stop me. I'm such a good guy.
I like, speaking of reverse psychology, I love the whole dynamic between Travolta and Whitaker.
Oh my gosh.
When Forrest Whitaker finally like gets the leverage and the dirt on Travolta's character.
Oh, dude!
And then he's like, "Ha! You learned, you sucker! You're a good like Travolta just came at him like he was so proud of him because he was trying to teach him leverage, and they're just like drinking like good old buds. It's just such a weird scene.
They're trying in that scene. They wanted so badly to have this like intense like tension between them, like, oh, who's gonna kill who? But it just falls so flat. It's like, I see you've learned well, my apprentice.
I would have liked it if Whitaker's character was like, fuck this guy. I'll help the humans.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Cause fuck this guy. He's been a dick to me. That would have been interesting.
I mean, I think
And
there's
it would have made the aliens a little bit more interesting because they're just like, they're not even evil. They're just dickhead, like corporate greedy dudes.
yeah, and
They're
I
psychos.
don't think that they played into it enough. Like I think that they they didn't decide, and I think, it shows in John Travolta where there's like one time he's like, hey, I'm going to be super manipulative. I'm going to be super manipulative and figure stuff out and work people against each other. And then he just starts beating Forrest Whitaker. Like he's beating him with like a bat. And it's like, well, decide who you are. Are you a manipulative guy or are you a tyrant? And it's like the whole time they have no perspective and no personality except for to get up on each other.
Yeah. There is the one where Barry Pepper, when he first gets captured, he grabs a gun and shoots one of the guards. And it gets reported to John Travolta, and he comes out and he's like, what happened here? And the guy's like, he shot the guard. He's like, there's no way a man animal can do that. Prove it. And the guy's like, no, he's gonna kill me. Listen to me. He shot him. And then like that one Cyclo, it's just a regular dude, it seems.
Yeah.
But besides that, they're just greedy dickheads.
And it's why did it take him why did he have to reach for the gun for Johnny Goodboy to shoot him? What, like,
I don't know.
Why did he
are the
why did he wait?
humans that passive that they've never grabbed a gun or grabbed a weapon or grabbed something? Because like the guy just lets him take the gun essentially because man animals are such a low perceived threat is my guess.
Yeah.
It's just like.
But then he but
They're
then
not
humans
that
are
he already shot
human
someone
nature
with it.
are humans are belligerent. They're warlike. Like we're not going to change that over 1,000 years. I don't believe that there hasn't been any kind of. I'll believe there's no why there hasn't been resistance, but at large. But I don't buy that there hasn't been aggression on an individual basis.
Yeah, not ever.
Which the movie totally insinuates that.
Yeah, I mean it's so like they're like, oh, it was a 9-minute war. They go to the Denver library that holds all knowledge later, and
where do we go? Where there's all the knowledge of
Denver.
humanity. Denver. I mean, the movie takes place in Denver.
Yeah,
makes sense, but
and it's like, oh, this is a place of knowledge. Like, I get it, but it is kind of ridiculous or funny at least that it's just like this is where all of the knowledge in human history is. But then
they unlock the flyer, so then we get to see a tour of the U.S. So they go to Fort Hood, they go to Fort Knox as well.
Yeah,
because there's gold there.
Because they need gold. But he's like there. I'm surprised at they leave them. They win this war in 9 minutes apparently. Like the Psylocks come and they win the war in 9 minutes, and then they're beaten by Harrier jet 1,000 years ago. Keep in mind, so it's like 1,000 years ago.
Those Harrier jets have been chilling for 1,000 years and are operational.
They're
ready
operational.
To go.
They got gas.
Oh wait, were those were human ships?
Yeah.
Those the U.S.
I
military
thought
uses
they were
those.
stealing Cyclo stuff. By the end,
that's why it's dumb.
Sorry, by the end, I had pretty much fully checked out. So
we mentioned it earlier, but they go to like those like simulation flight pods. Christian?
I did see the flight pod thing where they were learning and like these, like you guys are saying, these like hobo ass, they're learning how to fly jets.
And then they're running around with the M16s shooting like.
And the Cyclones are like, oh god, we're kind of getting beat, but the technology that the Cyclones have isn't even like that advanced. Like, did they not advance their technology in 1,000 years? That feels like a pretty bad civilization if they're still using like.
Also, how can they have been here for 1,000 years and haven't strip mined the whole place by then?
Yeah,
like humanity as it stands now.
Whoa,
I really don't know much about mining. But I would venture to say we could strip mine this Earth easily in 1,000 years on our own.
Like
let alone a scientifically advanced alien race.
Yeah, if there were no like environmental considerations, I'm sure it would take us 15 years to deplete. To be like, all right, we're just gonna suck the Earth dry because we have another planet we're gonna go to. So like I think that it would take like 10 years. I don't know. I don't know shit about shit.
Yeah. That's a great point. Also,
you
how the fuck would they not
fuck.
have found Fort Knox yet with all that fucking gold?
Yeah.
Yeah, or I guess they just don't have anyone intelligent. They don't like have any like kind of the classic quintessential like nerd character who cares and actually does some due diligence. I just don't think they have any of them because they're all.
But
all these aliens are the same greedy ass dudes. It's weird.
Yeah. They don't have
also.
They don't have any individual. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's pivot to the rats.
Oh my god.
Okay, two things: the rats and shooting the cows. I'm gonna just talk about the cows just quick. So John Travolta, he just drops them off, and he as a show of power, he just starts shooting the legs off of cows.
Like, and he goes behind his back. He goes behind his back, being
Oh,
like,
yeah,
"How
he
fucking
does.
cool am I? How fucking cool am I?" And he's there by
then he
himself.
Dude, when I saw that behind the back shot, I in my head I played out this scenario where John Travolta was like, "I want to do a behind the back shot," and the director was like, "No, John, we're not gonna do. No, please, just it's gonna look so cool, please."
No,
and so
John-
the director,
John, it doesn't really make any sense for you to go behind the back. I mean,
no,
you
but it's gonna look great.
know,
I
mean,
promise, it's
okay,
gonna be
I guess
fantastic.
you could just go behind the back just once, and we'll just shoot it.
Then he kills the cows, and then these other villagers, not the ones he brought, but I guess some other natives,
Just hanging out in the
people
woods.
native to the land, were hanging out there, and they're like, "You killed our cows," and they come out and they all take him prisoner, and then now
And then they give the
Johnny
gun.
Boy, good boy, has control of the situation now because John Travolta's character want to show off shooting cows' legs off. It's just, it's so stupid.
And then
I was the greatest gunman in my training.
he talks about his fucking class so much. You'd think that he like went to like Cornell or something like that. Fucking Andy Bernard, the fucking cyclo. That's that. He's like, I was top of my class. This is beneath my station to be working on Earth. Fuck.
But then he gets punished. I think he's already off the walls, but then he does get a little story beat information. He gets like eventually kind of stranded here on Earth to work here. He thought he was about to leave, and then the bosses were like, "No, you're here for 55 years, infinite renewal." And so he kind of that's what sets him off,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what plays out the string of events.
And a scene that we cut away from, listen, there's so many things in this where it's like, why do we, there's a moment where we cut away from a chase sequence to talk to John Travolta, see what he's doing. There's a scene, they cut away from before they say what John Travolta did to someone's daughter, and now he's stuck on Earth. That's like the reason he's there. And it's like, there's all these things we don't follow through. I mean,
Well, it was supposed to be a part 1 of 2, so
This is
it
true.
was supposed to be a 2-part thing, and they expected it to do well and make a sequel. Obviously, they didn't. So, I mean,
which is surprising because
I don't
we've
know.
just been saying good things about it this whole time.
Nothing but good things. Oh, dude,
The wipes.
I did have kind of another good thing. Well, it's
Okay.
not really a good thing, but I just love the fact that upon researching this, I learned that John Travolta had been trying to get this movie made for years and put millions of his own dollars into this.
Oh, yeah.
So this was a big investment for him too, which helped me get through it. Just knowing that in the back of my mind, it just made it even funnier.
well, that's why he was allowed to get the behind the back shot because he had that leverage.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh,
Bazinga!
bringing it back around.
So another thing with animals is the whole rat thing. If you guys want to jump into that, that was weird.
That was part of their initial plan to figure out how to train the man animals how to do shit. They were going to figure out their favorite food, and their idea was to let them loose and make them think they escaped. So they they're like, we'll make them think that they escaped, and then cut to them outside, and it's like, we think we escaped. And it's like, fucking how? Like, how did they escape? How did they make there's just a lot of questions that sometimes,
and then the first thing they eat, he's like, "That's it.
that's the thing.
That's what they like."
They could have had their choice of anything, and they chose to eat a rat, and it's not even cooked.
And so this whole big, and then he calls him rat boy.
Rat brain.
Rat brain.
Rat
Which
brain.
doesn't even make sense. Call him like rat eater. That's worse.
Rat breath?
Well, I don't know. Rat
Oh,
breath.
man.
Rat breath.
Rat breath.
Perfect. Rat breath.
Hey, rat
Yeah.
breath.
All right. Let's how would if you had the monumental task for redoing this movie and making it better, fixing it?
I think
What would you do?
I think I
or
have
if time machine and you were in control, time machine, whatever. What would you do?
Instantly raise this movie by 50% on Rotten Tomatoes by recasting John Travolta with like Daniel Day-Lewis or something.
Okay.
That's literally, I really think part of the reason this movie is hailed as being so bad is because anytime, at least in my opinion, anytime John Travolta talks, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So just recasting him would be step one for me.
I think different cinematographer or whoever in the camera department.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to be the DP.
Who wanted to do
that
this?
made these
Whoever was canting those angles.
fire him, hire someone new. And then build the world back.
Hold on.
Oh, we got a doggo.
Got a dog in the back.
Sounds like
And,
a cyclo.
Yeah. Part of recording these at home during these trying times, these unprecedented times. I was watching a completely different swerve, but I was watching the NFL draft, and every single commercial said these trying times, these uncertain times, and these unprecedented times. Oh my God,
Yeah.
it's so annoying.
Because
It's like a
every
giant
brand
Goodwill
wants to appeal to people like, we are good. We are good.
It's a whole circle jerk of goodwill. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, I don't watch TV, but I watched the draft because I like football, and that was my I was just like, oh, so that's what's going on out there. Jeez, like, God, like ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, like those channels, because they go for mass appeal of the whole United States. It's so like, ugh.
Okay, I'm back.
They're milking it for the brand. I have nothing, obviously, and I know you agree with me. There's nothing wrong with the companies that are actually doing stuff to help during this COVID crisis stuff, but there's a lot of big corporations like taking advantage and just like, milk my fucking brand.
Hell yeah. All right. I want to give my pitch because I have a pitch.
Yeah.
All right. So one of my major things with this movie is that in the first 12 minutes, you go to 12 different locations. So there's like, you see this fucking primitive mountain colony, and that's like you're there for 5 minutes. You like, it's literally just the beats that get the story. You don't see anything. You don't see anything of this character. You don't see anything of the world, of the way that they live. He just shows up on a horse. They say his dad's dead, and they're like, hey, don't go out into the world. And he's like, I'm gonna go out into the world, and that's it. So it's like, I would live there longer, and then live like in our first act, I would have it be more about them surviving and trying to find, and like, you don't even know that the cyclos are there. So it's like about this one guy, and he's got to have some sort of mission, because he's just riding his horse out into the world, trying to find old putt-putt golf courses. And
what was his goal? Just to like, I'm a man now, and I'm gonna go out in the world.
I don't know.
Big boy
He
was sad.
His
He
dad
was sad because I remember in the first 2 minutes, Barry Pepper screams out of rage because somebody's like, they came and killed everybody. And he just goes in this shitty, choppy, slow mode. He just goes, no!
Well, that's something too.
And that's his motive for the whole movie.
No, they said, the gods took your father in the night. I'm sorry. And he's like, why were you even gone? So like, why was he even gone? So just, and like,
he was just riding his horse.
Riding on the mountains, seeing what's up. So I would see that world a little bit more, maybe develop that relationship with his girlfriend instead of just being like, this is his girlfriend, because she literally says, your mom gave me this so that we could pass it on to our children. And it's like, that's a weird thing for you to just say. Also, why did my mom give it to you? I don't know.
I mean,
Well, to be
something
fair,
like that specifically, I'd buy as like, oh, I guess that's how it is then.
Yeah.
Or that's the change in society, or that's a societal norm for this tribe or whatever.
And I'm with you.
I agree, John. Because at the end, he calls her my woman. When he's telling John Travolta not to kill his woman, he's like, please don't kill my woman. It's like, oh, okay, that's why they haven't developed your relationship that much, because she's just your woman.
Nice. Good to see things progressed. Jeez. God.
Hold on, I got
Dude, how great would that be if women were just property? God, they're living in great times. those 3,000-year-old humans, or year 3,000
Man-animals.
Man-animals, yeah.
So
Clarifying, it's being facetious.
good clarification.
Yes, if that wasn't clear,
that's a good clarification. So
You never know.
We see more. No, that is a good clarification. So we see more of this man-animal world. We see how they're living, and then it's a new thing for him whenever he goes to Denver or whatever big city that's like emptied, and like then that's a whole new world for him. And it's just like we get to explore that, and then and then the cyclos come after he kind of accomplishes his mission. Like, he accomplishes his mission, and he's headed back to camp or some shit. And then, whoa, Cyclos are there. They take everybody. Oh, no. Look at this. Oh, my gosh, this is totally crazy. And then we're, like, thrust in this other thing after we've started to understand this first world that we kind of get at, and maybe this is what our thing will be. And then...
Yeah, that is true.
And then everything is... I would stick with the Manimals more because we just spend... And because it is John Travolta, we spend way too much time with John Travolta for it to not really drive the main story along, because it's like...
I mean, Darth Vader is in A New Hope, famously, for only 11 minutes. But he's so good at being the bad guy. He's iconic. He does the job, you know. Where in this, I get the feeling that it's John Travolta's footing the movie, and it's a passion project, so he's in it.
So he needs to be in it more. And then so, maybe, and this, like, there's a couple, for our third act, maybe our smart guy, he gets all the knowledge, and he becomes more manipulative and becomes like a king. I don't know.
Yeah. Man.
Like, this kind of like the same thing.
The other thing is, what's the original story, you know? Because people say that it's not, I mean, probably, I don't know the background of the people who said they liked it, but from some of my research, people are like, the book's actually good, the movie sucks. So I don't know. Like,
I mean, that's a huge possibility. I'm willing to entertain that possibility for sure.
I'm not willing to read the book, but I'm willing to entertain the possibility that the book is
better. Definitely not. Let me emphasize, not willing to read the book, but...
Well, one of the people said, like, the book, if it were to be made to the screen, it would have to be like a mini series kind of thing, because it's so dense. Apparently the movie is super abbreviated.
I believe that.
But it's not like they adapted it, though. They just abbreviated things and didn't explain it. Which is, I mean, I think probably our biggest issue is the world building is so bad.
Yeah.
And like, there's a taste of something interesting there. Or there's some things they play with that are fun.
That's what's frustrating about this movie is how bad it is. But it's like they're not far off from some stuff that would actually be cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, there is an alternate universe version of this movie that is good.
That is the Star Wars, the next Star Wars or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they really just fucking sucked at execution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to know, like, behind the scenes, all the business and interrelational things to pinpoint why this failed. You know, was it Travolta being controlling? Was it the director being an auteur? Like a whatever?
Well,
like, or was it the Scientology having, like, the church having any kind of influence? Or was it the company footing the bill being shady? Because evidently they are. I don't know. I'd be curious to know.
From that same interview that I watched, it was like basically when I think it was 20th Century Fox had dropped out, and then the Franchise Pictures got brought in, which is just a financing company. So Scientology came in and rewrote the script, essentially.
Okay.
Is what again, that's a very cursory, tiny little bit of research, little baby bit of research to just be like, how did this fucking come to be?
Yeah. That sounds right. I mean, I think that company, their purpose was to fund pet projects for celebrities, so that's exactly what this was for Travolta.
Which is, guys, that's why we need to join Scientology. Like, I'm willing to give up my deepest, darkest secrets if I can get a shitload of money to do cool stuff. Like, hell yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't think this company has anything to do with Scientology, though. Like,
really?
They fund passion for, it could be anyone.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is, kids, if you get the chance to sell your soul to do something cool, do it. Sell your soul.
That's what
Beyonce and Jay-Z did, apparently.
Yeah.
Illuminati, dude.
It's
Illuminati.
proven.
Katy Perry.
It's proven for sure.
Dude, and the only reason people shit on it is because they haven't gotten contacted by those corporations or those secret societies.
I mean,
that's a question for another day. Would you sell your soul for
instant
success and fame and happiness for the next 50 years?
Shit.
Yes.
Or
I mean,
where do I sign?
Yes, but
I like
maybe not.
I like Futurama's and Rick and Morty do the whole sell your soul to the devil story bit's pretty good. That's a whole different thing. Anyone have anything to say or wrap up with?
The main thing is the movie makes me feel like it was written by children. because there's like not a whole lot of reason behind things, and it's just like a shitty Michael Bay movie where it's just like things are there to look cool. I would say
it reminds me of my imagination as I'm playing with toys
Yes.
and mixing franchises and things and just put like toys that don't match together.
Mhm.
Just kind of making the story in my head and like all the crazy twists and turns and it like don't make sense, but they're there. That's what,
and then this guy
I
backstabbed
agree
this
with that.
guy, and then this guy backstabbed this guy, but he doesn't know that this guy is actually a secret manimal in disguise, and he comes out of his suit at the last second to eat his face.
That would be kind of fun, is to have a team of 3 to 6 year olds find the right age, be a writer's room, and they write a movie, and then you like legitimate like industry pros and like A-list actors, they do it. That'd be fun. Actually,
I don't know. I think
that'd be interesting.
I think 6-year-olds would write a bet. See, I wrote, this is what my middle school self would write, because I feel like a 6-year-old would come up with such a simple story that you could make it good. I would write this as like an edgy middle schooler trying to be cool, who just saw The Matrix and Predator.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so you'd have to so what you would do is you can make it could be whatever kind of movie you want it to be. So you take 3 to 5 12-year-old edgy dudes, show them a set of movies like Predator, Matrix, and I don't know, another movie of that similar kind of style, and then have them write their movie. So you're kind of, because they're super impressionable, you know, and not exactly, typically won't be super creative or original, especially if you're just picking randomly. But then you could do the same with like, teenage girls, like show them some rom-coms and then see what they make. Or just show any random group of children certain movies and then tell them to make, I don't know. It's a cool
It is a good idea.
I'm sure. I bet you it's out there somewhere.
Yeah. Has to be.
When schools open back up, let's swing by the nearest elementary school and be like, hey, we need some kids to come help us out with a movie project. See how that goes over. But I think my only other thing I would have changed, like my actual thing I would have changed about this story, is just don't have the Cyclos speak English and show them less, going off, I can't remember which one of you said it, but show them less, like show less John Travolta mainly. Yeah. And don't have them speak English, so you kind of have to guess what they're saying, and their acting can convey what they're doing more. Yeah. I think that would help too, just in terms of making them seem scarier and more intimidating.
Yeah.
That'd be a good thing. But yeah, if they like,
because obviously Barry Pepper's the lead. Yeah. And you're going to see the movie through his eyes, but instantly you know what they're talking about. So it's weird. Yeah. It's like I said, it's Travolta wanting the screen time, and
I mean, whatever. That's already a much better movie if like we see those scenes and we don't know what they're saying, and we're like from Barry Pepper's point of view, and like they're like, and then all of a sudden we understand, like we're very confused even when he gets thrown in a thing, and when he gets thrown in the zap thing, and then it's like, oh, he's teaching him, and then it sort of reveals from there.
That's how you find out their motives instead of like boardroom meetings, you know.
That'd be so much better. That's already a better movie.
Yeah.
Yep. Also, Barry Pepper needs to open up a pizza place, because every time I saw his name on the cast list, I instantly wanted pizza. Just random thought I had. Barry Pepper's Pizza. Come on down to Barry Pepper's Pizza. Yeah.
Well, I think that concludes our talk on Battlefield Earth.
Yeah.
We will start getting you guys involved. You know, I'll post on social and ask for you guys movie pitches or your questions on movies. Yeah, that'll be fun. It'll be fun to get you guys involved.
Yeah, pitch us your movie.
I'm thinking maybe what we'll do is we'll announce the week's episode beforehand, so you guys watch it, so it's more you're along for the ride.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Because I like presenting. I like just talking and assuming you know what we're talking about. It's a lot better than us having to contextualize a lot. So maybe that's like the setup we go for. I don't know. We're kind of figuring out as we go in terms of the tone and the direction of this, but the core is there. Movies. Yeah. 3 guys talking about movies. 3 stinky boys
popcorn.
talking about movies.
Let's say it together. 3 stinky popcorn. Nobody else did it with me. That's okay.
No,
well,
you did.
If you went 3 of us.
You went 3 stinky popcorn.
What if
I thought you were counting down.
What if
3,
you say one word?
2,
1. Stinky Popcorn
Popcorn
Boys.
boys.
That was perfect.
Perfect.
We
I
nail it every time.
What if we have like an opening where one says stinky, one says popcorn, one says boys, and then we have a fun little tagline that then we say after?
Okay.
I don't know.
Here we are.
We'll play with it.
But
Here, go for it.
Stinky.
Popcorn.
Boys, the
Yay.
stink is real.
The stink is real.
That'll be our
yeah.
tagline.
That's it.
All right.
Figuring it out live on air.
Have you guys enjoyed us talking about this terrible movie?
Yeah. As they say in Chicago, Barry Pepper's Pizza.
Barry Pepper's deep dish pizza.
Barry Pepper's Pizza.